everyone, and welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Jo Michaels, the baking author. Tonight we're making beef stroganoff. Yes, I feed everything that I make here on my channel to my family, so pray for them please. As usual, I'm going to start by reading the recipe. I already do have a salted pot of water on to boil, so that's done. I'm going to turn my pan on medium heat, let it start getting hot. Here we go. We need 1 pound of ground beef, 1 tablespoon of beef concentrate, better than bouillon, or 1 beef bouillon cube, 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt or plain sour cream. I'm not sure if I have quite a cup, but I'm going to get some from the fridge if I need more. 1 or 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 3 cups of beef broth, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, some milk and some cream. Not sure how much, but I'll get to there whenever we get there. And 1 package of wide egg noodles. And then you're going to want salt and pepper to taste, okay? So we're going to start by putting our ground beef in our pan. Again, with my handy dandy kitchen scissors. I usually don't use this. I usually use the organic ground beef. It tastes so much better. But since we've hit this pandemic, COVID-19, I haven't been able to find it anywhere, so I'm making do with what I have. Just unroll that and plop it in the pan. And throw that in my sink for holding. Put these in my sink for washing. And break my beef up in my pan with my little tool. You've all seen it a million times, so I'm not going to go into it. But if you want to take a peep at it on Amazon, it's about 10 bucks. I will link it below. Just going to break that up. Try not to be too loud this time. I've banged around quite enough for you guys. Just going to set that there while I go and dink around with my seasonings. So it's about a teaspoon of salt. You don't want to go crazy with the salt because the beef bouillon actually adds a lot of salt to this dish, but then the milk and the cream kind of tone it down a little bit. So you do you. You need a teaspoon of garlic powder. That's not a teaspoon. That's a teaspoon. And I like to just put it in with my beef so it all retains the flavor. And I'm just going to drop a little pepper in here. Not a lot. For flavor. Now this is the Louisiana cook's best friend. It's called Tony's Chachere's. As you all know, I lived in Louisiana a majority of my life, and I don't think there's a dish that we make without this. So if you can find it in your store, it goes on everything, even ice cream. So good. And I just threw some of that in here. Now I'm going to mix it all together with my beef. Now we're not going to drain this beef. We're going to use the grease to make our roux, and that will make our creamy gravy. It's not really a cream gravy. Alright, I'm going to brown this up and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay guys, I'm back. I have my olive oil here and I'm going to pour just a couple of good slugs of that in here to help along with our grease, our hamburger grease, to make this roux so it will thicken up the creamy gravy that we're going to make to go with our beef stroganoff. Got my trusty rusty whisk. Well, it's not rusty, but you know what I mean. Okay, we're going to use approximately 2, maybe more, tablespoons of flour. But I'm just going to dump them in there and get them whisked around with this beef, kind of coating it. It was not quite cooked through because it's going to keep cooking as I'm doing this. And I don't want it to get overdone or super brown because that's just gross. Ugh. Okay, it's going to take a 1/3 tablespoon of flour. We're going to be putting a lot of liquid in here too, so don't worry that you're overdoing it. It will thicken up the milk and the beef broth that we're going to add, so that'll be yummy. Yummy! And of course, if you've been watching for a while, you know I put garlic in everything, so this is no exception. You can cut up an onion and throw in here too, but I find it doesn't really need it. And onion powder is always an option as well. I'm going to put just another half tablespoon of that on there. And just let that cook for a minute. Because raw flour is gross. And it doesn't really do anything for your food. It just adds a weird flavor to it. Still over medium heat. Now I need to rinse this. I'm about to put it in my bouillon. I have a strainer sitting in my sink to strain out the pasta once it's cooked. So that's what I was moving to the side there. We are going to go ahead and add, it kind of glumps on there, but our tablespoon-ish, might be a little more than a tablespoon of beef, better than beef bouillon. Just because it melts nicely and it gives it a beautiful taste and color. Alright, I'm done with that. It can go in the sink. Now to this, during the break I measured out my Greek yogurt. You can use sour cream for this. That is the traditional way to do it. I will put that in after I add my beef broth and my milk. And it won't be a lot of the cream, like the heavy cream. So I'm not going to need a ton of it. Here we go. That's going in after. Right now I'm going to add, I need to take this off the heat. I'm going to add my 3 cups of beef broth. See that thing glowing? 1. And I am just going to toss it on in there because yum. 2. Not even bothering to whisk in between. 3. Approximately 3. Sometimes it'll take 2, but hey. We're kind of winging it because as I told you guys before, I don't really measure stuff, so I'm doing this from the hip. Now just get your beef moving around in your broth. My water is boiling for my pasta, so I'm going to let this come to high heat, and, well, not high heat, but, you know, a simmer while I put the pasta in. I have some no yolks, raw egg noodles. Another pair of kitchen scissors that I keep just for this occasion. We are just going to toss half the package about in there and give it a little stir. Now, this water is very salty, but it has no oil or anything in it. So we're just going to let that cook. Alright, now I can turn this up and just give it a little stir around. I am completely done with my flour, so I'm going to put it away. I don't want to splash into it, and if you've seen me cook, you know I splash everywhere. I splash everything everywhere. Whoopsie. Okay, back with my whisk, and I'm just going to whisk this as well as I can with the beef still in there. This is so tasty, you guys. I got irritated because there was no hamburger helper at the store one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own. I was lucky I had the stuff in my kitchen to do it. I'm going to add just a touch of heavy whipping cream. That was probably about 1/8 of a cup. And then about as much milk. No, I didn't measure it. You do you. I've said that many times. Now this should thicken to a beautiful consistency. We shall see once it comes to a boil. I have turned it up to high now because I can watch it. My noodles just cooking away over there. I can feel it as I'm stirring it kind of get thick. but I want it to be pretty thick because it needs to coat the noodles really well. That's all there is to this dish, really. Seasonings, beef, a little flour, some liquid, and pesto. It's not time to taste it yet, Joe. Okay, keep whisking, keep whisking. You may have to cook it down for a few minutes. It is what it is. Don't add more flour to it because you're not able to cook the floury taste out of it, and it will just clump up and you'll have weird clumps in your food. It'll be gross, I promise. Raw flour is gross. This is bubbling quite beautifully. I wish I could show you guys, but as soon as I pick it up, it's going to stop bubbling. Can you see in there? No? How about if I do this? Can you see it now? So yummy! We're just going to cook it on high till it kind of reduces down just a hair. I don't want it to be too thin, and I don't want it to be too thick. So we're just going to take it to that happy place right here like this. Check my pasta while I wait. This does not take long to cook at all. It's done enough to go in there. Do not rinse it. Then I can't see. It's okay if a little bit of the pasta water is left in there, that's fine. It's all going in here in a minute and it'll finish cooking in this pan. Okay, that's about as thick as I want that because I'm about to add this Greek yogurt. It's a little like a rounded cup. I love this cup because I can pop it out and it just kind of falls in there beautifully. I actually need to get that whisked in rather quickly, so let's go. And don't worry if it's a little bit chunky at first, it will smooth out. Reduce your heat just a smidge. And then we're going to taste it and adjust our seasonings if we need to, and it'll be so yummy. I'm going to throw that pasta in there and let it finish cooking in this sauce, which will, again, it'll kind of thicken it up a little bit too. Because the pasta will swell and get all yummy, you know, like absorb all of this. Right now it's at a prime time because it's just before al dente. But it's still a little hard to chew. I don't know how many minutes that was. I wasn't timing it. I'm done with my whisk. Alright, now we're going to taste. That is perfect. Just going to put my pasta in there. And then reduce my heat to low. And I'm just going to let this sit here and cook for a few minutes. While it does and works its magic, I am going to clean up some of my kitchen so I don't have to do it later. You guys can watch the pot. Hey guys, I'm back. As you can see, the kitchen is clean now, and I have my pot of food here, and it is thickened about like this. Now you don't want it to be like glommy onto your spoon, but it should be a little bit thick, and you should be able to really see those noodles in there. Let me bring it closer so you can really have a look. Should look about like that. Now if you want it thicker, leave out about a half a cup of that beef broth and you will get it a little thicker. Or leave out the milk or the cream or something. I like it at this consistency because my bread soaks it up so nicely. So I'm gonna taste just a bite right here out of the pot. My family doesn't kill me tonight. I know, they're all like, you ate before us. I want to burn my mouth. Mm. That garlic really comes through. Beef is nice and chunky. Really hits you on your tongue. This will thicken as it stands. So the longer you leave it there, the thicker it's going to get. That pasta is going to keep absorbing that liquid. So serve it up whenever it looks about like this. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. And if you make it, let me know whether or not you like it in the comments down below. It's better than Hamburger Helper in my opinion. If you subscribed already, thank you. If you haven't, what you waiting on? It's right over there. It's easy to subscribe. It's literally just the click of a button. Make sure to give me a thumbs up on my video. Share it. Tag me, right, Joe Michaels, all social media. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.